Internet! Hello, you lovelies, and welcome to This Week in Comics. This week in comics, we have a ton of DC casting news. We officially have our Hal Jordan cast. We are probably hours away from our John Stewart cast down to a final 2 names, and this week they officially announced our Supergirl villain has been cast. All of that, plus a Deathstroke and Bane movie I've got some ideas about, as well as lots and lots of info about some TV streaming numbers, not nearly as flashy as exciting, but very interesting to talk about. And if you're new to this page, this is This Week in Comics, where I break down all of my favorite comics from the week before. I read about 50 to 70 comics a week, and I bring you my 9 favorite comics from the prior week, so you might find something you find approachable and get into that comic store. I also preview that week's upcoming book, so you can find something available right now at your local comic shop, as well as bring you the news and everything else. I did fall behind a week, so this is me reviewing the September 18th comics and previewing the ones that came out on September 25th. Let's talk about all that news. Let's talk about all those comics. This is This Week in Comics.
Let's do the list. Spider-Man.
Guilty.
The Incredible Hulk.
Afraid so.
Oh man, this is so cool. The X-Men.
Now that you mention it.
Green rings, full hearts, can't lose. We officially have our Hal Jordan, and it is Kyle Chandler. Kyle Chandler is always such an inspirational figure, whether he's playing a coach or he's playing a douchey big brother in game night. The guy just brings the gravitas. Personally, I never thought of him for Hal Jordan, but now that he is Hal Jordan, I'm so intrigued because I definitely think this is the right tone, this is the right energy, this is the right guy for that leadership role, but it's someone I never imagined. So it's a fun little curveball where I'm like, that makes sense, but I never put it together. So I'm really curious how this plays. It does definitely lead credence to the idea of a leadership role. Now, there's tons of rumors about this being a just the TV show contract, which I don't know if they've came from anywhere credible enough to believe, but it is interesting with the clear paternal energy and leadership energy we're getting from casting Kyle, if we're gonna actually kill him off in the first season. Like, is this a character that ever gets to become Parallax? Is this something we're ever going to see flashbacks or any use of Sinestro at all? Or is this just going to be a 1-2 True Detective-esque show where John Stewart takes on the mantle full-time going forward? Very intrigued by this. Everybody's been wanting a John Stewart for a very long time. And speaking of John Stewart, it is apparently down to 2 names. We are down to, from Rebel Ridge, I think is the name of the Netflix movie that everybody loves, Pierre Alexander. I have not seen Rebel Ridge yet, but I want to, especially now with this potential casting. People are ranting and raving about how good this dude is. That's awesome. I don't know his work. He's like a 30-year-old dude, looks yoked, looks ready to be John Stewart, but I don't know his work, so I can't speak to his acting. Also, there's 2 people up for this role, apparently, is Stephan James. Now, Stephan James has quite the insane resume. He's been in stuff for I think he's got 37 some credits, and he's also 30-something. So, very active dude, lots of work under his belt. Both these guys, I don't know their work that well. These are not actors that I have familiarity with, but look seems accurate. Their vibe seems strong. I watched a couple clips. I really like the hardiness, for lack of a better term. I like that they seem steadfast. And John Stewart's a very focused up, very determined guy, very military. So from the little bit I saw from each of these dudes' work from when they got announced and pouring through it, I think they could work. I just don't honestly know their work well enough to speak to it. Also, Damson Idris, who was apparently in the final contention, did just have to drop out due to scheduling conflicts. Always intrigued by when that stuff happens, just how much this is going to be filming, how long. Because Green Lantern, to be honest, I'm always excited for another chance to see Green Lantern. But this has been a thing that I didn't know how it would work tonally because of True Detective being mentioned, Earthbound. I think of Green Lantern as the most cosmic of things. It's Space Cop. So when they said Earthbound, I was like, ooh, what's that gonna do? When they said a True Detective, I was like, of all the stories, that's the one. But then they announced Damon Lindelof, the showrunner from Ozark. Tom King's on this writing team. Like, this is a stacked, insane behind-the-scenes lineup for Green Lantern. And now this cast, I'm very intrigued by this. This is quickly elevating to my most anticipated show list. I'm very curious. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Kyle Chandler? It's very tricky because I keep almost saying Kyle Rayner, who is my favorite Green Lantern, but he's the character name Kyle Rayner who plays Green Lantern when Hal Jordan goes away. I digress. But what do you think of Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan? What do you guys think of either Pierre Alexander or Stephan James? Let me know in the comments below. If you're familiar with either of their work, please let me know why or why not they work for John Stewart. Let me know what else going on with Green Lantern in your mind. Are you excited? Let's talk about Supergirl. Supergirl is out June 26, 2026, and I am so excited for this movie. It is my favorite Supergirl story. It is an arc I think is made for movies. It is very cinematic. It is huge. It is powerful. I think it's a great way to build out the world of the DCU. We meet Kal-El, then we meet his cousin not long thereafter, a year later, like I said, June 26th, and now we have our villain, and he is a powerhouse, man. If you've never seen Rust and Bone, highly recommend it. Matthias Schoenarts. This dude is so captivating and cold and calculating, but somehow charming. He's got this benevolence and malevolence wrapped into him. You don't know whether you trust him or not. He's got this undercurrent to him that I think is going to be absolutely amazing, because this villain from Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is actually layered. There's actual nuance. He is absolutely an awful creature. He's just despicable. But there's some of his monologues, you listen to him and you're like, that's an interesting point, or like, man, I can see where he's coming from, though I disagree with it. And I think that Matthias Schoenarts is going to crush at this. I'm so excited for this movie. Milly Alcock as Kara, I think, is just so inspired. I think that this movie, directed by Gillespie, is going to be a powerhouse, because he's done such a good job with everything he's done leading up to this. Is a different facet of why I think the Supergirl story works, whether it's the world building, whether it's the wardrobe, whether it's like the directing style, like everything he's made lends itself to this. So the directing I'm already excited about. So I've got a whole video about why I'm excited for Supergirl. You can find it on this page. This casting, yes, more of this. And speaking of casting, very briefly, it was also announced this week that Alan Tudyk is in Superman, and people are like, how big is this movie? I think personally, he's either playing Dr. Phosphorus again, because they've made it very clear that everyone in the animated is also going to be in the video game, is also going to be in live action, or he's playing like a smaller voice role. Maybe he's Crypto, I don't know, but I don't think he's like a giant role, and if he is, I hope it's Mr. Mxyzptlk. But I think that he was already filmed some time ago. People were worried about like reshoots and stuff. It was an odd thing where people are concerned about another cast member. Alan Tudyk should be in everything, and I think it's a voice role, but I'm very curious. What do you guys think? Who do you think Alan Tudyk could be? And are you excited for Matthias Schoenarts to be the villain of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow? Let me know in the comments below. Let's go from film and some DC TV with Green Lantern over to full-on, currently on television. Talk about some numbers. It has been an odd week for TV, with Penguin debuting 10 days ago. The new episode is out tonight, and I will be putting up my episode 2 review right after the episode ends, so keep your eyes peeled right here for Penguin episode 2. Also this week, I'm going to be dropping my October preview, going to be dropping my Agatha episode 4, going to be dropping Saturday Night Live, the movie review. Lots of stuff coming this week, and of course, Joker drops. So if you are curious about Joker, I'm seeing it Monday, so I'll have it out of the theater on Monday, a spoiler-free later in the week, and a full spoiler likely Friday or Saturday. So eyes peeled and all that. But TV-wise, we had the 2 big debuts this week of Penguin from DC Studios, the first show from DC Studios, and Agatha All Along, the newest show from Marvel Studios. Now, what is interesting about these numbers is when they were revealed, they looked very similar, but they are very different. They announced that Agatha got 9.3 million views in a week. It was then revealed that was worldwide, not domestic. That's not great. For comparison, The Acolyte, which was canceled for low viewership and amongst other things, got 11.3 million in 4 days. So Agatha's not tracking all that great, whereas Penguin, a much smaller budgeted show on a very different style of network, was 5.3 million in a few days. So while those numbers looked comparable at first, domestic versus worldwide, as well as the number of days to get there, as well as the style of show, the budget of show, everything else. Now, it is apparently confirmed that Agatha All Along is one of the smaller budgeted shows from Disney Plus in quite some time. That, I think, bodes very well, because it shouldn't cost an arm and a leg if you can make something in these cool changing sets. Witch's Road, it's a lot of your set. The special effects are fairly minimal so far. We're only on episode 3. But I really think, looking at the budget, I think that's why the Penguin's singing. I don't know if penguins sing, but I think that's why the Penguin's singing right now, is because it is a comparably smaller thing. Now, I have seen the first 3 of the Penguin, and it does get decently big. Like, there are some special effects and stuff, but I do think they were able to make it fairly contained budget-wise, and 5.3 million on HBO Max is a different kind of victory than a 9.3 worldwide for Disney Plus. So I'm curious what you guys think. Are you enjoying Agatha and Penguin? I do think 9.3 for Agatha is great if the budget is as small as I hear. And I am very excited for the bombastic, just one episode of Penguin, just domestic, 5.3 million, because that does bode well for the future of Matt Reeves' universe. Let me know what you think of those numbers and statistics in the comments below. I just thought it was interesting the way we're reporting numbers, like the Penguin made the #1 on the Nielsen rating chart, and the Agatha All Along debut didn't track. It didn't even make the top 10. So Penguin at #1, a lot of people were confused because 5.3 million seems smaller. Okay, that's done with TV. Let's talk movies again. Deathstroke versus Bane. These rumors came out, and I don't know what to make of them, but my theory is that they're two characters out of a few. I don't think it's just a two-hander with Deathstroke and Bane. I think there's much more to it than that. Could be a Secret Six movie. It could be a Batman movie itself with those villains in it. It's a very vague announcement. And if you look at the actual language from the more accredited reporting places like Variety and Hollywood Reporter, they're saying that they don't know what capacity Deathstroke and Bane are in the film. So I don't usually report on rumors. It is fairly confirmed that something with them exists, but I wanted to clarify. We don't know if they're the leads. They are just mentioned as being a part of the project. So I could see it being a big villain team up, but I could also see it just being a Batman movie that features Bane and Deathstroke, and someone took it out of context. So be wary on the internet of what you read. We'll see what comes from that Bane and Deathstroke idea. And finally, before we get out of here, before we head to the comic books, I did want to speak on the Jordan Peele Blade rumor. It is still just a rumor, and I usually, again, don't talk about rumors, but I've been wanting this for like a year, ever since it first started falling apart, and when Jordan Peele put up his very vague Instagram post for his next movie. Now this week, an update on that is Mahershala Ali followed Jordan Peele on Instagram, which could mean absolutely nothing. But if it means everything, I'll be very happy, because I would love a Jordan Peele Blade. And finally, Thunderbolts. I didn't realize it the first time, but it is the first thing with Scarlett Johannson as a producer on it at Marvel. And it's very intriguing with all the White Widow elements, with the new Black Widow, Yelena. But I also wonder how much of that was part of the lawsuit with the money that Scarlett Johansson didn't make that she was due for Black Widow getting released direct to streaming as opposed to getting theatrical. Are they repaying her with producer points? How are they fixing that relationship? Is that how the relationship got fixed? They were like, we'll make you a producer, we'll make up for it, because she was supposed to be a huge back-end points producer on Black Widow, as well as, actually working on the film both behind and in front of the camera. And then the movie was not supposed to go straight to streaming, and it didn't do great. So I'm really curious about the producing element of ScarJo, whether she was creative producer, financial producer, what the deal was with Thunderbolts. Let me know in the comments below what you think of my Bane Deathstroke theory. Let me know what you think of the Thunderbolt stuff. Do you think somehow Jordan Peele is making Blade? Playing around with some of the more curious rumors on the internet, but not taking them as gospel. They are not written in ink. They are at best pencil. Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about some comics. These are my favorite comics from the week of September 18th. Last week, well, 2 weeks ago now, and then at the end of the episode, I'll be previewing the books that are available right now for September 25th. All right, let's talk about them. So these are my favorite comics from the week of September 18th. Remember, we're 1 week behind, so during the weeks this week in comics, we'll be all caught up to the 25th. But for the week of September 18th, first up, we've got Avengers 18. This is a really cool issue dealing with leadership, dealing with thinking outside the box, dealing with the altruism and goodness of the Avengers in dealing with Hyperion. Really love the multiversal elements here, really love the inventiveness here. Really fun issue, highly recommend it. Then it was Batman Day last week, so we had a bunch of good Batman Day issues, and I'm including one of them because I hadn't read it in years. Batman Day 2024, Elmer Fudd team up. Now, Elmer Fudd teaming up with Batman should not work, but under the pen of Tom King and the pencil of Lee Weeks, it absolutely does. This sings. It is so much fun. It is inventive. It is very interesting to see the two character dynamics blending into one world. Seeing a realistic Elmer Fudd is fascinating, especially teaming up with Batman. This is just, if you like the fun in comics, even if it's a self-serious book, Elmer Fudd Batman, what an insane thing to exist. What a delight. We've also got Batman Superman World's Finest, number 31. I love this title. The art from Dan Mora is gorgeous. The writing by Mark Waid. This man knows these characters. I keep thinking we'll get to a point where this story feels like it's lost its momentum, but it only grows. This issue is, I don't want to give anything away. This issue really sets up the next arc well while concluding the last one, and the art and writing are absolutely what I love about Batman and Superman. This is some of the best of DC. I love this book. Next up, we've got Falling in Love and the Path to Hell, number 4. This book fell off for me a little bit with 2 and 3. Loved the first issue, liked 2 and 3, but I don't think either made my top 9. This one is back. It is all of the weird oddities of this purgatory. It is this world where all of these larger-than-life caricatures of characters are trapped on their way to the next place, and I love this cowboy character. I love the way they're making him get likable. It's really interesting to see people fall in love in the worst of circumstances, and this is literally that, but in purgatory. Fascinating love story. I love the way it's going so far. Issue 4 was great. Then we've got John Constantine Dead in America #9. I love this title. I think almost every issue has made my top of the month. It is so full of lore and mysticism, and it's also so just gross. You can smell this book. It's so rank, the world that Constantine lives in, and this is dealing with the worst of Hollywood. This is dealing with a lot of the myths around Hollywood. This is dealing with a lot of the underbelly mixed with mysticism. So I love the Hollywood myths and lore and grossness, but I also really love that Constantine plays in magic. This is my exact jam, and again, as ever, it's very Hunter S. Thompson coded, very Americana in a dark way. Really love this title. Next up, we've got a brand new book. It is called The Tin Can Society. It is in issue 1. This is 1 of 9. It's only a 9-issue miniseries, and so far it is brutal. It's about someone who was born with spina bifida, who is a genius, who invents an exoskeleton in order to cope with that, who then is able to make that to scale, become a billionaire, change the world. Very Tony Stark, but the dark side of that, instead of being alcoholism, being, well, we'll find out, because he is murdered in the first page of the first issue, and we see his entire friend group, also of geniuses of various levels, being both accused of maybe doing it, but also telling tale of loving this guy. So it's a really cool kind of like Losers Club meets Iron Man, and I really like this first issue. It's really intense. You immediately are endeared to these characters right away, and that's impressive. Issue 1 of Tin Can Society has me interested. Next up, we've got Wonder Woman #13. This is not necessarily one of my favorite Wonder Woman issues, but I'm really impressed at how it uses the modern Wonder Woman sensibilities tying into the big Absolute Power tie-in, and tie-ins don't always work. So this is still like a B+, A-, still an exceptional issue, but it doesn't have quite the luster of the rest of the Tom King run so far, but it is impressive to see tie-in to a giant event book, because most event tie-ins are not worth reading. This one absolutely is. Love the dynamic with Damian Wayne. Love the way they're utilizing the Absolute Power concept. There's a lot of really badass moments as we've gotten from this run from Tom King so far. Still highly recommend Wonder Woman. This whole run has been great. We've also got Multiverse Collision Detected. This book is so fun. This is dealing with the Multiverse's video game canon, and it's how the big three came into that world, and it deals with the canon of multiverses in a really fun way. I loved this book. This issue was so much fun. Honored to have been the Multiverse's host at Comic-Con a few years back, because this is such a fun way to use all the Warner Brothers IP in a really creative way while still being so true to these characters. I just read Multiverses Collision, highly recommend it. Check this book out. And finally, X-Men #4. I just love that this book feels like an X-Men book in a world that hates and fears them. They're dealing with all of this chaos. I love Juggernaut in this particular issue. I love that we address the Juggernaut, not a mutant concept, like head on. I love the team dynamics at play here. I really love how they're utilizing Cyclops. I love the writing. I love the art. This is X-Men to me. X-Men #4 is fantastic. Those are my favorite comics from the week of September 18th. I'll be back in mere days. I'm almost done reading September 25th's books, so we'll have those. But for now, these are my favorite books from the week of the 18th. Let's talk about the books available right now at your local comic shop that debuted Wednesday, September 25th. All right, so the comics I'm looking forward to checking out from the week of September 5th from my favorite publishers are, first up from Image Comics, they've got the most out this week. We've got Black Cloak #8, Convert #2, Creepshow Volume 3 #1, as well as Kevin Eastman's Drawing Blood #6. Really looking forward to Feral #6, as well as Kaya 21 and Knights vs. Samurai #1, which is David Desmalchian teaming up with Todd McFarlane, which is a duo I'm very excited to see. We've also got Moon Man #4, Knights #11, Old Dog Operations #1. That is from the great Declan Shalvey. We've got Plastic Death and Dolls #4, as well as Saga #69. You lovelies. I'm so excited for that issue, and look at that cover. It's a beautiful nod to the number 69. We've also got Self-Help #4, which I'm excited for. Spawn Kills Every Spawn #3, and Stand Still #2. Also curious to check out Universal Monsters Frankenstein #2, missed issue 1, gonna be checking those both out. Violator Origin #1, Violent Flowers #1, and World Tree, the trade paperback 2. If you've heard me talk about World Tree, I never really plug trades because I don't read in trades, but trade #2 is out. Highly recommend World Tree. Pick those 2 trades up. Highly recommend them. From Marvel Comics, we've got The Amazing Spider-Man number 58, Avengers Annual number 1, Chasm, Curse of Cain number 2, or Chasm, I think you pronounce it. We've got Daredevil, Woman Without Fear number 3, Deadpool Team Up number 2. That is the final run ever on Deadpool from Rob Liefeld, and that is issue 2 of 5 or 6. I'm not sure how long that mini is. We've got Marvel Previews 37 if you want to find out what's coming out soon at your local comic shop. We've got Namor number 3, NYX number 3. We've got Phases of the Moon Knight number 2. We've got Phoenix number 3, Predator versus Black Panther, as badass as it sounds, written by Benjamin Percy. Book is so good. That's issue 2. We got Star Wars Ahsoka number 3. We've got my book of the week. I have not read it. I am elated to. It is Ultimate Spider-Man number 9, doing that Sinister Six goodness. We've got Uncanny X-Men number 3, Venom War Daredevil number 1, Venom War Zombiotes number 2. We've got a Red Band Werewolf by Night number 2, as well as Wolverine Revenge number 2, also available in Red Band, and X-Force number 3. Over from DC Comics, we have Absolute Power Origins number 3, Absolute Power Task Force 7 number 7, Action Comics number 1069, Batman the Brave and the Bold number 17. This I'm excited for. Batman the Long Halloween, the Last Halloween. This is a Jeff Loeb written in honor of Tim Sale, multiple illustrators, illustrated continuation of The Long Halloween. Very curious about that book. We've also got Detective Comics 1089, The Flash number 13, Green Arrow 16, Harley Quinn 43, Lobo Cancellation Special number 1. Very curious about that book there, as well as Power Girl 13, Titans number 15, and Zatanna Bring Down the House number 4. Over from Dark Horse, we've got Anansi Boys number 4. You know I'm loving that title so far. We've got Cyberpunk 2077, Kickdown number 3. We've got Helen of Windhorn number 5. Love that title. We've got Kill All Immortals number 3. Also from Image, we have from Dark Horse, we've got Nightclub 2, issue number 2, second volume, second issue, basically. That sounds confusing, but it isn't. And then from Dynamite, we've got Hercules number 5, as well as Lilo and Stitch number 5, and Red Sonja 14 and Thunderbolts number 8, if you're into that sort of thing. From Mad Cave, we've got Dick Tracy number 5. I know a lot of people are loving that new Dick Tracy. It is on issue 5 this week, and that is going to do it for my favorite titles from my favorite publishers. Those are the books I'm going to be checking out this current week, the week of September 25th. I know it's October in like 48 hours, but we're playing catch up, so I'll be back with a new This Week in Comics. We're going to get 2 this week in mere days. I'm reading those books just as fast as I can. I'll be back with more news, more comics, and we'll be all caught up, which has been a lot of reading, so I appreciate your patience. Who knows what news might break? I'm pretty sure by the time we film again, John Stewart will be official. Also, this week, you can keep your eyes peeled for the Penguin Episode 2 review, which should drop today if this is up on Sunday, if you're seeing it Sunday. Within an hour or so of the Penguin episode, expect a review, as well as my October preview of all the film and TV coming out. October, we got Joker, we got Venom, we got lots of good stuff. And then also this week, I am seeing Joker Monday, so expect an out of the theater review, a non-spoiler review, and then over the weekend, a spoiler review, as well as a review of Saturday Night, the new film from the great Jason Reitman. Those are a lot of videos I have to film, so expect those soon. Please hit that subscription bell. I'm trying to hit 36K. Want it. I turned 36 last week. I want to hit 36K. Let's do this. Also, leave a like in this video. Leave a comment. I'm going to get to editing. I'll see you guys soon.